Here we go. How can I serve today, sweet Spirit? How can I serve today, oh Lord? Speak in ways that I may understand. Where you lead me, I will follow. Where you, I did the wrong song. Yeah, it just dawned on me. Yes. Huh? I know. This. Good morning, everyone. Oh, yeah. Here we go. All good. All good, all good. Holy, holy. All good, holy, holy. All in my mind and my heart and my soul. Let me know all is good. Holy, holy. All love, all love, all love. Holy, holy. All love, all love, all love. Holy, holy, all in my mind and my heart and my soul. Let me know all is love. Holy, holy, all one, all one, all one. Holy, holy, all one, all one. Holy, holy, all in my mind and my heart and my soul. Let me know all is one. Holy, holy, all good, all good, all good. Holy, holy, all good, all good. Holy, holy, all in my mind and my heart and my soul. Let me know all is good. Holy, holy, all in my mind, all in my mind and my heart and my soul. Let me know all is good. Holy, holy. Now that was the right song. Woo!
It's so cute because our book of the month is The Gifts of Imperfection and the Anatomy of Authenticity. Thank you for being authentic. Good morning, everybody. Wow, we had a great crew this morning. I am Kimberly Hawkins, Senior Minister here, and it's my pleasure to welcome all of you. We had a great crew this morning in Reverend Bonnie Anderson's lovely meditation about communing with our higher self, our authentic self. Beautiful. Thank you so much, Bonnie. Bonnie's holding high watch for us throughout the service. Laura Stewart's our practitioner on pulpit duty. And of course, Reverend Andy Anderson is our musician. Yeah. Anybody here for the first time? We always like to welcome you. Let's give you a little love. Thank you for being with us. We welcome you and everyone, no matter where you may happen to be on your own personal spiritual journey, and we hope you'll join us in the social hall in Bosworth Hall after service for a little fellowship. And gosh, there's going to be a jewelry table and tickets to the Jamie Lula concert, all kinds of stuff going on. If you haven't silenced your cell phones, either put them on airplane mode, please, now, or turn them off. Trying to remember what else I'm supposed to say. We're an inclusive, progressive spiritual community, and so glad to see all your faces here this morning. Our teens are in the next room, so if you hear noise, you can just smile and know that that is a wonderful thing happening in our community. Now, there's something very important that I want to say this morning. The path to ministry in our denomination is long and steep. One first has to become a practitioner, which requires at least 4 years of study, 2 years of our spiritual growth classes, and then 2 years of practitioner training, followed by at least 3 years in our Masters of Consciousness / ministry leadership. Laura's finishing up that path right now. So it's really at least 7 years, and we have someone in our community who just completed the very last step, because after you graduate and take all your capstone exams, you must sit for a panel with a panel of peers who assess your consciousness, and if you pass that panel, you become a licensed minister of religious science. I'm going to ask Reverend Kim Bebo to come up right now. Yeah. So congratulations, and it takes a while, and I know she'll tell you about it if you talk to her later, to adjust to, this is a reverend now, and we're so blessed, Kim, to have you in this community. Yeah, beautiful consciousness, beautiful prayer. Now, Kim's partner, Karen Jordan, brought flowers in honor of this great occasion, and I'm told that the white represents spirit and the light pink roses represent love, and we know we surround you in love and spirit, and know that you are that shining spirit. So, congratulations. You survived. You can have a seat. So with that, it's time now to take a deep breath if you haven't had a chance all week. And we'll turn it back over to Andy to prepare us for our invocation and our reading.
When I am still, I can hear that small voice whispering my ear, saying God is all there is. So I listen from the heart, place where love resides. It's all I am inside. And I remember with God all things are possible. When I release and let go and know I'm one with the whole, to love and to know God. When I am still, I know that God is near. I can feel His healing power flowing through me as me. And then I look all around me. Oh, love is my destiny. There's nothing can stop me, it's self-discovery. And I see, oh, only joy and a beauty in me. And I know when I release and let go, see, only love, God is love. And I know there's only one. I know there's only one. There's only one. Oh, there's only one. Oh, and when I see it, then believe it, and know that I know, that I know, oh, it's my destiny. When I am still, I know that God is near. I can feel His healing presence flowing through me as me. And I see the best in me. I feel that God is near. I celebrate, know the truth. And I know there's only one. There's only one life. There's only one life. It's me, it's me. There's only one life. There's only one life, one love, one peace. There's only one. And it all becomes so clear. becomes so clear when I become still.
Good morning, everyone. Wow, the view from up here is absolutely stunning. I know that there is only one power, one presence, one infinite intelligence that is moving in, through, and as each and every one of us, uniquely and yet part of the one whole. I know that whether you are here for the first time, if you've been coming here for years, you are here by divine appointment. You are drawn to that call to remember who you are and to be surrounded by those who are on a similar path. God beholding God, beholding God. We are the lucky ones. I know that the service today is blessed beyond measure. It can be no other way. There are no mistakes in God's world. And today is perfect. For this and so much more, I'm incredibly grateful, knowing that what needs to be known is known, what needs to be heard is heard, what needs to be shared is shared fully, without reservation. For we are the place where God shows up to divinely experience life. And it is amazing, and it is so, so good. So I bless this service, everyone in it, and I simply release this into the spirit of love and the action of the law, knowing that it is perfect, complete, and so good. Amen, Ashe, and so it is. As I light the peace candle, I light the peace candle to represent the light within each of us, the light of divine oneness, the Christ consciousness that resides in us all. Knowing, as I light this flame of peace, we allow ourselves to feel God's peace and love deeply in our hearts, resonating through our entire being. So goodness. So that we might send peace and love out into the world. Because that's why we're here. We know that. Literally, that is why we are here, and that is why we are here. As we move into a brief moment of silence for all those suffering, all those in pain, for victims of senseless violence, for uncertainty and doubt, for all those suffering in any way right here and right now, we send the light of our heart to theirs, making that divine connection, knowing our inseparability with each other. For we are all beloved children of God. We are all one. We are all connected. And so it is. This is the second Tuesday. Good Lord, I am just having a heck of a time up here this morning. This is the second Sunday of the month, and instead of doing a reading, we go through our Sacred Covenant. Centers for Spiritual Living Rogue Valley, Sacred Covenant. God has promised. We are immersed in and saturated with the vital essence of life. There is wholeness in everyone and in everything. Ernest Holmes and Thomas Merton. Our purpose is wholeness. Nothing missing, nothing broken. Our vision is to be a beacon of light, love, and celebration of oneness. The intentions of our beloved spiritual community is to deepen spiritually as we share worship, music, and spiritual practices together. We provide educational opportunities that teach science of mind principles, enhance spiritual growth, and deepen the consciousness of oneness. We delight in a thriving ministry where our children, youth, and their families are truly seen, engaged, and celebrated fully. We are here to create community connections that are nourishing, vibrant, inclusive, and fun. We are here to lovingly embrace, engage, and uplift the larger community in support of inclusion, justice, and peace. And I just give you a moment to think of what is your personal intention for being here and being out there in the world. And lastly, what are your intentions for others? I invite you to take those to heart and take those with you as you leave the service today. Inspired, uplifted, and completely saturated and connected with your divinity. I love you. Namaste.
I woke up this morning with love on my mind. It's a new day and I feel fine. I just let the love within me see the best that is within me. It's all I am inside. See, I'm not afraid to show it. Let the whole world know I know it. I'm one with this presence inside. See, I'm divinely guided, so glad that I found it. My greater good right where I am. Oh, and every day I can truly say I am fine. Oh, you know I'm doing all right. Every day, oh, I just let Spirit have its way. Just have its way. Now you see, and listen to this. That nothing outside of me can make me feel the way I feel. I decide how I feel. There's no need to worry. Stand up Have the courage, speak your word, and know that it's so. See, I speak my word for love. I choose peace. It all has to start with me. I just let the love flow through me. Don't let other thoughts fool me. I'm centered in spirit divine. Oh, and every day I can truly say I am fine. Oh, you know I'm doing all right. Every day I just let spirit have its way. Yeah, just have its way. Every day I can truly say I am fine. You know I'm doing all right. Every day I just let spirit have its way. Just have its way. Every day, every day, every day, every day, oh, I just let spirit have its way. Every day, every moment of the day, every day, oh, I just let spirit have its way. Every moment of the day, all day long, every day, oh, I just let spirit have its way. As I express my authentic self, I'm gonna let spirit have its way.
Oh, Andy Anderson, your joy is contagious. Thank you. Right? Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Well, I've got my mind map all out of order here. So you know what? There's something funky going on today. We'll blame it on daylight savings time. And congratulations, because you all made it on time. Now watch and see at 11, just in a few minutes. Well, no, it would be 11:30 if people don't arrive. In the fall, it's easy because a few people arrive an hour early, but in the spring, not so much. So you all did it. Congratulations. So, one of my favorite quotes of all time is this: "What other people think of me is none of my business." Eleanor Roosevelt. It's sometimes attributed to Wayne Dyer, but she, I believe, was the first to say it. And I've been fascinated with that quote since I was fairly young, because I don't feel I've ever quite achieved it. That to feel that's totally none of my business. But I think as we mature, we get a little better at being our authentic selves and living out loud and not worrying so much if other people don't understand or whatever. But it's a process, is it not? Our theme for this month of March in Centers for Spiritual Living globally is cultivating authenticity. So today I entitled my talk, The Anatomy of Authenticity. Like, how do we do that? I think it's definitely a process, a lifelong process. I think we're all still probably engaged in it. Is there anybody in here who totally lives what other people think of me as none of my business? Anybody?
I don't care what people think of me.
All right, Melanie Sunday. All right. We bow to you. So I think for most of us, it's a process that involves several steps. When we're younger, we tend to have layers and layers of expectations put on us. How we should behave, speak, act, be, what we should become. And we're so impressionable when we're young. Yes, so parents and teachers and eventually bosses and friends, we take on layers of how I'm supposed to be rather than what am I at my core? What am I here to be and to express as an individual, unique expression of the divine? And you know, that's part of it, isn't it? That we're all unique, and I think the more we can come to accept that not only am I unique, but each person's unique, and that's the way it's supposed to be, right? We're not supposed to be cookie cutter clones of one another. So, I guess what stands between us and the ability to be fully authentic is that collection of beliefs and ideas and habits that we've collected from our life experiences. Some of us have been hurt or criticized or made fun of when we were younger, or maybe even when we were older, and what other people have put upon us. And then there are family beliefs, right? Like, what were the norms in your family about how you were supposed to be or what you were supposed to do? Thinking about this topic for myself personally, a few memories came up, and I'm wondering if some of you can't relate to this type of thing. Way back when I was in nursery school, let me tell you, that was a long time ago. Do you ever have someone say something to you that just had such an impression that you don't forget, even after years and years and years? I was fairly small. I'm still not a large person. I'm kind of small-boned and not real tall. And I think as a child I was pretty thin and maybe frail-looking. I didn't feel frail, but in nursery school, so I'm at 4 years old, one of the teachers took my hand in her hand and showed it to one of the other teachers and said, "Aren't her hands so dainty?" Or no, it was, "Look," these were the exact words as I remember them, "Look how dainty her hands are." Now you might think that's an innocuous thing. I did not. I was pissed, to tell you the truth. Because I wasn't dainty in my own head, and I don't even know how I knew what that word meant, but just by her tone of voice and the way she was acting, I knew it meant she thought I was small and whatever. And I knew I was strong. I knew I was powerful even then, and I was way too shy, painfully shy as a child, to say anything, but I felt it and I thought it. Around that same time, my mom at Halloween time, and let me just preface this by saying my mom was in many ways a beautiful, wonderful, doting mom. She, in those 50s and 60s when moms were moms and that's all they did, and she devoted herself to her 3 children, and she was wonderful. However, one Halloween, she dressed me up the best I can describe it is a China doll. She somehow had these red silk pajamas with, instead of buttons, the frog fasteners, and I had a parasol that I carried, and she even used eyeliner to make my eyes look like I was Asian. And again, I was like, eh. And I never said anything to her. It was interesting. I wish she were still alive so we could ask her about this. But in my mind, what I wanted to be that Halloween was a cowboy. Not a cowgirl, a cowboy. I must have watched Westerns and whatever. Anyway, it was very disappointing. And when I had my own children, I was very sure to make sure that whatever they wanted to be at Halloween, if I had to go to, I didn't sew, if I had to go to a seamstress to have a fox costume made, which I did one year from my daughter, I would do it. There's one more memory, and then I'll leave this. A comment from my dear mother at one point. Now, a little background here. Because when people say things that are somehow diminishing us or somehow not completely accepting and approving of us, usually it has nothing to do with us, right? It has to do with them. So a little background. My mom came from a working class family. Her dad was a stonemason and a cemetery caretaker. My dad came from a blue blood, wealthy family from Boston. So I think all my mom's life, she was concerned about fitting in and how we were seen and how her children were seen. So one day I distinctly remember her talking to me about how you walk like a farmer. And I probably still do, right? I probably still do. I walk with determination. And that she didn't like that. And she even talked about charm school, never sent me, but where you walk with a book on top and, walk just so. So those 3 memories have really stuck with me, and somehow from an early age I was able, at least in my own head, to rebel. But sure as shooting, like any of us, we internalize some of that stuff, and we think that somehow we're not quite right just the way we are. Our book of the month is The Gifts of Imperfection. We've been practicing that this morning, right? All of us, by Brené Brown. And this is what she said about authenticity. Authenticity is the daily practice of letting go of who we think we're supposed to be and embracing who we are. So this month we will continue to explore just how we might release any pressure or ideas of who we're supposed to be and be able to live out loud as the authentic people that we are. So I think the first step in all of this, in the anatomy of authenticity, is getting to know who we are. I mean, I knew from a young age that I was strong, right? I knew I wasn't dainty, and I didn't care if I walked like a farmer. Actually, that one stuck. That one hurt. So forgive me if I still walk like a farmer. And I give you all permission to walk however you want to walk. Right. But the first step is really learning who we are. And I think for some of us it takes longer than for others. Like, how many of us, if we went to college, knew by the time we finished high school what we wanted to major in college? A lot of times we don't. Some people know from an early age, and sometimes people know and then change. I think on average, research has shown we change careers 3 to 7 times during our lifetime. I certainly did. Many people who I know certainly did. In college, I majored in French. Not because I thought it was going to get me anywhere in the world great, but I had a knack for languages. I love languages. I was good at it. And my dad spoke French. And so I think part of it was I knew he'd like it if I majored in French. And I did teach for a while and then had, as I've talked about, many career changes that happened after that, television news and counseling and ministering and so on. So that first step, getting to know who we are. And I think that the universe nudges us as well in certain ways so that we can express our gifts as we're meant to. Brené Brown talks about, as we go through this process and we give up being perfect, we are, as Laura expressed, we are perfect, whole, and complete in our spiritual sense. Nothing can damage the essence and core of what we are, but we're perfectly imperfect as humans. Would you agree? You know, none of us is perfect. So there are 3 C's that Brené Brown talks about as we go through this process of fully being who we are. Courage, compassion, and connection. So courage, we have to cultivate courage sometimes to be vulnerable, to be who we came here to be, despite what other people believe. And we can't really belong if we're pretending to be someone else. You know, we can't really feel like we belong if we're trying to copy someone else or be who we think we're supposed to be. There's a difference between, Brown says, between true belonging and fitting in. And I don't know about you, but in teen years, a lot of us feel, and some of our teens now feel like they have to fit in. Brown says we can only belong when we offer our most authentic selves and when we're embraced for who we are. And I believe that's part of why we're in spiritual community, to recognize who we truly are and to embrace that, no matter where it leads us. So courage. The second C is compassion, and really it's both self-compassion. You know, to be able to love myself, warts and all. None of us is good at everything. Thank God, right? We have certain gifts. And to really begin to cultivate self-compassion. If we play the wrong song in the beginning, or if we aren't on the mic, or if I forget almost, what I'm supposed to do, it's okay. It's perfectly okay. Self-compassion, embracing all our parts. Our founder, Ernest Holmes, reminds us in a wonderful little book called This Thing Called You, a great little book to start with if you haven't studied science of mind. He says this: your soul belongs to the universe. Your mind is an outlet through which the creative intelligence of the universe seeks fulfillment. So we're not here to behave like our parents think we should, or our siblings, or our peers, or our teachers, or our bosses. We are here to let that universal creative spirit move through us in the unique way it intended us to have it flow, right? Courage and compassion. I think in my experience, some of us are called to muster more courage than others for whatever reason. If we are someone of color, if we are a different ethnicity than the norm in a community, if we are, our sexual orientation is different, sometimes it takes real courage. I think of the parents of children now who are telling their parents at an early age, I'm in a female body, but Mom, I'm a boy, or vice versa. And how that is for the parents, and how much I respect and honor those parents who let the child be who they say they are. And how tough that might be, think about it. You got a little boy who wants long hair and wants to play with dolls and whatever, and what do other people think, right? Because judgments happen. And I know that we're probably at a different place where we would know, of course we would accept that, but not true of everybody. So I was thinking about this and thinking about my experience at Phoenix Country Day School, where I, in my first year as the counselor in the upper school, went to a conference put on by GLSEN, Gay, Lesbian, Straight Educational Network, which supports gay, lesbian, GLBTQ youth in schools to feel safe and to flower and be themselves. And each of us was asked during that conference in California to pick a project when we got back that we were committed to doing. And my project was to start a gay-straight alliance at my school. But I realized I couldn't do that by just hanging a sign up and saying, you know, let's have a gay-straight alliance, that it would have to be student-driven. But we know in Science of Mind what happens when we set an intention, right? First month back at school, September, 2 girls come to me and say, would you help us go to the headmaster? We want to start a gay-straight alliance. And I got to tell you, I was a little bit nervous. I didn't know what the headmaster would think. He was wonderful. He supported us. He supported the girls. We were able to start it. However, he had a caveat. He said, I don't want you to call it the GSA, the Gay-Straight Alliance. I want you to have this organization come under the umbrella of the Multicultural Club, which already existed. And at first, I was disappointed. And then I realized the wisdom of that, because we had kids that would come whose parents did not know and would not approve, especially kids who came from a very strict, you know, more orthodox, conservative religious background. And so this way, they could tell mom and dad, hey, we have a multicultural club meeting after school. But the courage of those 2 girls to come to me and to sit with the headmaster and say, this is important, we want to do this. There was a young man during that time who was a freshman who was being raised by his grandma. His parents, I think one was in jail and one was a drug addict, and his grandma was wonderful. However, she was a devout Christian in a very conservative community. He knew that he was gay at age 13 or whatever he was, and he came to me for help. The courage again, the courage. He was not somebody that was kind of a, I don't know, what you'd call a pretty mainstream kid. He was different, he was unlike a lot of the other kids in certain ways, but he wanted to be who he was. He wanted to be authentic. He wanted to be able to live his truth. And so I communicated with his grandma. I sent her to PFLAG, you know, Parents and Friends. She changed the denomination to an open and affirming denomination and supported this young man as he grew up as a young gay man. But the courage, I get chills when I think of it. Compassion, self-compassion, and courage. The third C is connection. We need to seek out the support of people who understand and are willing to be fully behind us, just as Eric did. I'm sorry to say the name, but you won't know who he is. Just as that young man did, and just as the 2 girls did who came to me. We need to seek the support of people who are willing to see us for who we are and who are willing to say yes. So, let's see, where am I here? Emerson said, imitation is suicide. Living someone else's life is what imitation is, or someone else's dream. So, you know, a lot of us have had opportunities to realize we can't do that. We can't imitate someone else. Reverend Linda Rapon tells a really amazing story. When she was young, I think in her 20s, she was hired to be the executive director of the Special Olympics organization in Washington State. And early on, after being hired, she was sent to a conference in Colorado where all of the executive directors from all 52 states were invited. And she was all excited. She felt equipped to do this job. She had done a lot of work with teenagers and in social services, and she walked into this big room of people, and she realized right away that she was not like everybody else in there. They did not come from social service backgrounds. Most of them, as she put it, were sports jocks. Special Olympics is about sports, right? Offering sports to people with disabilities. And she felt out of place. She felt small. She felt like she didn't belong. And being young, she wanted to prove that she was okay, you know, that she was one of the group. She knew how to ski, not all that well, but she learned to ski when her kids were learning. So one day she skipped a session of the conference and went skiing in Colorado in the winter. She had skied in Washington State, where the snow is kind of compact and different, and Colorado, if you've ever skied in Colorado, is very different. So she came off the almost bunny trail all right away, completely out of control, speeding down the hill, first run of the day, ran into a tree and broke her shoulder. She said a 6-year-old circled around her. Have you ever had that happen if you learn to ski? Saying, "Are you okay, ma'am? Are you okay?" She goes, "Yes, I'm okay." Rescued by the ski patrol, emergency, bandaged up, and that night she had to ask one of the other people in the conference to help her undress because they had bandaged her with all her ski clothes on and she couldn't manage to undress. She said by the end of the conference, everybody there knew she was not a jock. And of course the lesson was, trying to be somebody you're not doesn't usually work out so well. I think that one stuck with her. Oh my. Yeah. I have my, it was an interesting week. My printer at home wasn't working, and I couldn't get my printer here to work, so my mind map is a mess. It's a mess, which is just fine, right? The gifts of imperfection. But I'm searching, okay, what am I forgetting here? The 4 Ps, this is something else that Brené Brown talks about. So if we are in that cycle of trying to be who we think other people want us to be, here are the 4 Ps, and maybe you can relate to them. We get into performing, perfecting, pleasing, and proving. Performing, perfecting, pleasing, and proving. Some of us are people pleasers. I am in that category of perfecting, and I've talked about this before, and anybody who knows me well knows I have been a perfectionist. And you know what? I really have made progress letting go of that. I really have, right, Laura? Approve of me. Yeah, it's so much better when we can let go of that. We're at such peace. And again, bringing in that self-compassion. So letting go of those 4 Ps and embracing instead the 3 Cs. I think I'll backtrack just a bit because you may be able to relate to this too. Just accepting our path through life and how we change. I'm going to share a story of my beloved Eric, who gave me permission to share. He came from a family who thought science was really, really important because it could save us. And yes, I believe it can. But the idea that he grew up with was this spoken belief that if you can have a career, if you have the ability to have a career in science, you should. Now, don't mind the fact, if you know Eric, you know that he's a published author, 4 books. He's also highly into music, and he's a lyricist. Never mind the fact that even in high school, he had won awards for his writing. He decided to go to Harvey Mudd College in a very highly technical, prestigious, technical engineering type environment and study math. His mother was teaching aeronautics at the time, which probably helped, right? Got a math degree, went through all kinds of iterations when he got out of school because he was tempted to work in the music industry, but it wasn't paying. Eventually, I'm going to check my notes to get this right, but this was really interesting. He had wanted to be an astronaut when he was younger, exploring the universe, right? And so he wanted a job when he left the music industry as a data analyst on the Voyager Mars mission at the Jet Propulsion Laboratory. Wow. Wow. That is my phone. Shall I answer? I thought and some of you may have seen me, I reached in to turn it off and I didn't. All right, well, I am perfectly imperfect. Back to my talk. Eric did not get that job, and I think that was the universe nudging him in a different direction. You know, did you ever have that happen? So he ended up taking a job as a systems analyst on the early warning satellites used by the Defense Department. If you know Eric, that was not going to work. He was miserable, hated it. Lasted 2.5 years just so it could look on his resume like he had some stability, and eventually moved into, again, music and writing his books, taking photographs. His heart connected again with what he wanted to do. But it was a circuitous journey, and I do believe the universe does nudge us if we kind of make a detour, and it's all good. You know, we learn in the process. So I've got two things I want to do in kind of wrapping up here. One is the story of the Golden Buddha. Some of you may have heard this story, true story. In Bangkok, there is a statue of a Buddha that stands 9 feet 8 inches tall. It weighs 5.5 tons, and it's worth approximately $250 million in gold. It is solid gold. It's believed the statue was built in 1403. Imagine that. But in 1757, the Burmese army was invading Thailand. The Buddhist monks at the monastery, in order to save the Buddha, covered it up with plaster, layers and layers of plaster, and some of it had inlaid pieces of broken glass so that the armies wouldn't realize its value. Not one monk survived that invasion, but the Buddha did. Years later, in 1957, when they were moving an entire monastery and tried to move the statue, the rope broke, the Buddha fell, and it created a crack in the plaster so that you could see the gold. So a monk fastidiously chipped away at the chisel, chipped away, revealing this incredibly beautiful, valuable gold Buddha made of solid gold. So here's the moral of this story. Under the plaster of thought and layers of beliefs and not the truth of who we are, there lies our self with a capital S, our golden Buddha. So the anatomy of authenticity requires us, and I invite all of us to do this, to look at the layers that may still be there. The old beliefs that we were imbued with growing up or in our work life or in our relationships of how we're supposed to be that don't mesh with the truth within us. Like somebody telling me I had dainty hands and I knew, right? But how have we all learned to pretend or to let go of our aspirations that don't match what others have thought of us? I wanted also to read to you a poem I'm sure a lot of you know. This is funny, and it's a little bit outrageous, but it's we might call it an ode to nonconformity. It's called Warning, but some of you may know it as When I Grow Old, I Will Wear Purple. This is written by Jenny Joseph. When I am an old woman, I shall wear purple, with a red hat which doesn't go and doesn't suit me, and I shall spend my pension on brandy and summer gloves and satin sandals and say we've no money for butter. I shall sit down on the pavement when I'm tired and gobble up samples and shops and press alarm bells and run my stick along the public railings and make up for the sobriety of my youth. I shall go out in my slippers in the rain and pick flowers in other people's gardens and learn to spit. You can wear terrible shirts and grow more fat and eat 3 pounds of sausages at a go, or only a bread and pickle for a week, and hoard pens and pencils and beer mats and things in boxes. I'm not sure what a beer mat is. Maybe you can tell me later. We must have friends to dinner. Oh, I'm sorry. But now, we must have clothes to keep us dry and pay our rent and not swear in the street and set a good example for the children. We must have friends to dinner and read the papers. But maybe I ought to practice a little now, so people who know me are not too shocked and surprised when suddenly I am old and start to wear purple. Okay, I'm not encouraging us all necessarily to spit in the street, etc. But I love the idea that why not do that now, whatever stage of life we're in, why not start now to be who we are free authentically to be. There's a beautiful passage in the Bible you may be familiar with in Matthew 5:15, 16. No one lights a light and sets it under a bushel basket. Rather, they set it on a lampstand so that it can light the whole house. We are much the same. We're intended to shine our light, not to hide it. And just as that light on the lampstand lights the whole house, when we're willing to shine our light authentically, not only do we light ourselves up, but we offer light and support to everyone around us, right? So let's practice the 3 C's: courage, compassion, connection. Let's go of the 4 P's: performing, perfecting. What are the other ones? Performing, perfecting, proving, pleasing. Hey, you listen. Let's not be afraid to wear purple. Let's go into prayer. What I know is there's one source of all life. And while we may try to describe it, what I know in my human words, my human understanding, that is a big task. For the center of God is everywhere. The circumference does not exist. It is infinite. It is universal. It exists in places we have not yet even imagined. But what I also know is it exists right here within me as power, as peace, as clarity, as harmony, as freedom, as joy, and so much more. And just as this is the truth and only truth for me, it is the truth for each person in these seats, for each person across the planet, yea, across the universe. One life living itself as all that is. We are all interconnected. We are meant to shine our light, even though our light, just as a glass bowl with colored glass, appears differently when water is poured through it. If it's a red, a green, a blue, so are we appearing different and acting different and aspiring to different things, even though we're animated by that same life. So what I know is that it is indeed God's good pleasure for us to shine, to be authentically who we are, not to be tripped up or constricted or having beliefs that we cannot do this or that. And so my prayer for each of us this week is that we begin like that Buddha, like that monk that stripped the layers away, that we begin to strip away any layers of doubt, of unworthiness, of what we're supposed to be. And we take time. My prayer is that we are supported to take time in meditation, in journaling, if therapy, if need be, in self-reflection, to more fully embody with clarity, who is it I'm meant to be? What really makes my heart sing? Because what makes my heart sing makes the world sing, yes? I know in a book I've been reading recently and only begun, The 4 Pivots, the first pivot is to switch from the lens of how we see people to the mirror of how we see ourselves. Let us be supported in the practice of looking in that mirror, not to judge or pick fault, but to realize, who have I come here to be? What are my strengths? What is my passion? And let us also remember that not only does it take courage and self-compassion, but it takes connection, that we might support one another to be the best, the highest and best spiritual beings that we came to be. May we seek community, whether it's here at CSL or other places, that see the truth and honor the truth of who we are. In gratitude for this community that does just that. In gratitude for the beautiful teachings of the likes of Brene Brown. In gratitude for this time together. I simply release this word, knowing it's heard, it's answered, as all prayers are, and we say together, so it is, amen.
Today is a day for celebration. I'm so glad that I'm aware my good is everywhere, is where I am. I celebrate God's love, joy, peace, and harmony, yeah. And I let the Spirit use me, let God's love flow through me, so there's nothing else. Oh, think I'll stand up, celebrate, and celebrate, just celebrate all that I am. Celebrate. I only see the best in me. There's no reason to feel less. Don't you know we are blessed? That's what we are. Ooh, so I know the truth, be the truth, see the truth of me. Yeah, and you. And I let the Spirit use me. Oh, let God's love flow through me. There's nothing else. Oh, so come on and stand up and celebrate. Stand up and celebrate this perfect day. Oh, stand up and celebrate. Good that you are. Just stand up. Oh, I am my power and my glory. Oh, I celebrate all that I am. Celebrate the goodness and the greatness that you are today. So just let that be your way each and every day, for there's nothing else. Oh, so stand up and celebrate all that you are. Stand up, oh, come on and stand up. Stand up and celebrate all that you are. Just stand up, oh, stand up and celebrate this perfect day. And just stand up, let's celebrate. Oh, stand up and celebrate. Oh, this perfect day. Just stand up, oh, stand up and celebrate all that you are. Just stand up, oh, stand up and celebrate this perfect day. Just stand up, oh, stand up and celebrate, oh, stand up. Stand up for love. Stand up for peace. Stand up for joy. Oh, every day, every moment of the day. Stand up and celebrate. Yes.
Two verses, Andy, to get the message. I'm going to invite our ushers, please, to come forward. It's our time to offer tithes and offerings. And as always, a big thank you to those who have continued to support this community. From my heart and the heart of our board and our whole community, thank you. I invite you in a moment to say our affirmation together as you prepare your check or offering. And for those listening online, you can always go online to our website, cslroguevalley.org, and make a donation, and we appreciate your participation and support as well. So, let's see, our blessing. Good Lord, this is an interesting day we're having here. At least I'm having an interesting day. I don't know if you are. So repeat after me if you would. Graciously I give. From a place of love. Knowing that as I give, so do I richly receive. So it is.
I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed.
A few announcements before we break. In the social hall, a couple things going on today. It's the second Sunday of the month, so Sue Van Hoos is offering Jackie's jewelry. So please browse and find something cool, gently used for you or for someone you love. And Jamie Lula is happening. If you don't have your tickets to the concert on March 24th, you want to come up, Steph? You can buy tickets here today in the social hall. $25 here. You want me to just leave it here? Okay. $25 here, $30 at the door, if there are any tickets left, which we are thinking probably not.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Reverend Stephanie, and I'm heading up the team to get the Jamie Lula concert off the ground. So who's got their ticket already? Woo, fantastic. Okay, so as Reverend Kimberly said, you can buy your tickets today. You can get a yellow one or a green one. And so a few things to say. First is the tickets cost $25. Now, for some people, that might be an issue. But we have practitioners here, and they come up at the end of the service, and you're welcome to go and get a prayer from a practitioner around prosperity, infinite supply, abundance, whatever you need. So set your intention to be here and let the universe fill in the details for you, but come and ask for prayer. If $25 is not a problem, consider buying a ticket for a friend or a few friends. You can get a lot of tickets for $1,000. I didn't do the maths, but I know it's a lot. And if you want to be a part of the energy field on the night, not just sitting and receiving, but also giving to your community, please come up and see me about volunteering. So we've got lots of positions available for people on refreshments, on the door, ushering, all of that. What else did I want to say? Oh, please help us market this. Who has Facebook here? Who uses Facebook? A few of you. Okay, so please share it on your Facebook page. Talk to your friends. If you want to have some flyers, we can get some flyers for you. If you want to hang them up around town or wherever you hang out. So please, let's spread the word. Because Jamie Lula, I think the last time he came here was years ago. So it's such a special opportunity to be in the presence of a master. He's an icon in the music world of New Thought. So please don't miss it. Thank you very much.
Thank you,
Don't want to miss this.
One last announcement. Practitioner Deborah Perdue from Grants Pass, who many of you know, is offering a book study of The Universe Has Your Back, bestseller by Gabrielle Bernstein. She is, the class is about transforming fear to faith. It starts this Wednesday, the 15th, from 3:30 to 5. It goes for 6 weeks. It's $90, and you can sign up by going to as in Deborah, d.perdue@graceofgratitude.com. See me if you need that repeated. Be sure to sign up for our newsletter if you're not already on it in the social hall. The prayer box is back by where Vivian is standing. We receive your prayers, and the whole ecclesiastical team prays all week. And let's see. Yeah, Ellen had a hand up.
Is that an online course or in person?
It is an online course. Good question. Online course.
Jamie's coming on the 24th of March. I forgot to know.
Yes, Friday the 24th of March is the Jamie concert. Doors open at 6:30. All right. I think that's it. Let's see. Let's have the practitioners come on up. They are available, as Rev Steph reminded us, to do prayer for you after service. So seek one out. You can go in the office area if you want to have it be quiet. All right? So that's it.
Yes.
Closing song. We're ready for you, Andy.
Yes, we will do the right one now. Here we go. How can I serve today, sweet Spirit? How can I love today, oh Lord?